Hello everybody! Thank you for coming back to my channel. Today, we are going to do a continuation kind of what we've been doing the past 2 weeks. We're actually going to be tier listing the Elite Four this time around. So, go ahead, leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know who your favorite Elite Four person is. And with that, let's get started. Alrighty, so we are going to start by going over what our categories are. We have amazing, great, good, bad, and horrible. I don't think we're going to have too many in the horrible field because I don't really hate any of them, but I do definitely like some more than the others. So anyways, we're going to start with our initial first person, that being Lorelai. Now I'm actually going to bump Lorelai up to amazing. I really like that they added a lot of lore with her in the Sevi Islands, where that's where she's initially from, and that they gave her a bunch of like backstory with protecting the Four Island, with the ice path and all that. Like, I just think that that was very interesting because she's an ice type specialist, and then the lore behind her not appearing in the Johto games is because she's actually retired to help protect the Sevi Islands, but there's also the theory that she's actually Will. She was transgender and she became Will, and there's like a whole YouTube short that I made on that, so go watch it if you haven't. But yeah, overall I think she's amazing. Bruno, I think, is great. I really like Bruno. I mean, he's a muscular guy who's a black belt. What else do you need, you know? In case you forgot, I am a black belt myself, so you know, and I'm not very muscular, but so Bruno's up there. His overall team's not that interesting though. I think that he definitely needed more fighting tips in it, even in his like initial appearance. Like, I don't know why they gave him the 2 Onyx other than to reference the anime, but I mean the anime came after the game though, so. But you know, like, they could have gave him Primates, they could have given him Poliwrath, they could have given him any fighting type Pokemon other than the 2 Onyxes. So it just didn't make any sense to me, but overall I think he's great. Appearance wise, I love the fact that they brought him back into the Johto games. Overall, just great. Agatha, going up in amazing. I probably like her better than Lorelai. I just think the lore with her being rivals to Professor Oak, where she was definitely more focused on battling while he was definitely more focused on researching. Super interesting. I love the backstory for her. I really want to know where she is in the Johto games because we don't get any reference to her. We never find out what happens to her after the Kanto games. It's just big mystery. Some people think she's moved on, passed on, but I hope not, because I feel like she's a ghost trainer, so she's gonna live forever, you know, like with her Pokemon. I don't know, interestingly. But yeah, I really wish they brought her back for more. I like the fact that she's actually related to Charm, and then other related to Bertha. Super interesting that Charm's lineage had 2 strong characters. Next we have Lance. I like Lance. I like him better as an Elite Four member than I do as a champion. I think that they kind of just, the lore behind him becoming champ, you know, I'll save that for the champion video. Him as an Elite Four member, I think his Let's Go team is the best team because it has the most diversity with the Pokemon that he has. He doesn't have 2 Dragonairs. He fills those spots with Alola and Executor, a Charizard, a Seadra. Just really, really cool way to try to diversify the team instead of just giving him repeats. But overall, I think he is a great character. I like his design. I think that it's pretty cool to have a dragon tamer type character. But Will, I think Will is one of the most underrated characters in Pokemon. I really like the character design, I guess, the most. How he's kind of like a jester with the mask, with the colors. I really like the purple and the maroon color that he's wearing. But yeah, his team's also pretty interesting. I like his signature Pokemon, not Xatu, sorry. Xatu's a Pokemon that I really wish people used more often. I wish it was better. But yeah, overall, just very, very cool character, and I like him a lot. Koga. Oh, Koga's good. I like him better as an Elite Four member than a gym leader, mainly because of the Pokemon that he uses. Well, actually, no. That was a lie. I like his signature Pokemon in those games being Crobat. But overall, him having an Ariados and him having a Fortress, not great. Those aren't even his type, which, I mean, I just praised Lance for that, but Koga, I feel like there were enough Poison-type Pokemon that they could have filled those spots a little bit better, but I think they wanted to just get that Johto representation in there somehow, so, eh. Karen, I like. I'm gonna put her, I feel like, yeah. Karen's gonna be up and amazing. I'll put her behind Lorelai just because I don't think that they gave her enough lore. There's really not much going on with her. But the quote where it's strong Pokemon, weak Pokemon, that's the only perception of selfish trainers. One, you should really win with the Pokemon you love. Like, that's peak Pokemon right there. And I really like, I know I just push down Koga for this, praise Lance for this, but I'm about to praise Karen for this, how she has the Gengar and the Vileplume. Like, I think that was a great way to introduce Pokemon who don't really get a lot of, like, attention. Well, no, that was a big lie, because Vileplume and Gengar actually get a lot of attention. I wish that they did fill her team with the other 2 dark types in the generation, like Tyranitar or Sneasel, but overall, I think she was a difficult fight. Great introduction to the dark type, and yeah, I like her design a lot too. The blue hair with the yellow, the gold blouse, like super, super nice design. Sydney. I'll put him in great. I'll put him above Lance. I like the rocker aesthetic that he's got going on. I think I definitely like his artwork from Generation 3 more than Generation 5 or 6. I think he just looks more like put together. I like that design better. You know, I really don't like the dollop of like hair that he's got. I know it's a style, most likely. If not, I'm so sorry. I'm judging your hair. My bad. I would never. But overall, I just like his Generation 3 design better, but it doesn't look bad. Phoebe. Ooh. I'll put Phoebe top of great. I like her better than Bruno. I like the fact that you can see her outside of battle, where she's gonna be like on the top of Mount Pyre, and her grandma and grandpa are the people, like the gravekeepers, the stone guarders at Mount Pyre. But at the very end of the game, like, she's there visiting her grandma who passed away after the events of the game, which heartbreaking, but it's great for story development and story progression because she can actually speak with dead people. So her grandmother's not truly gone for her. And then we also have the ghost girl that appears in her Elite Four member room. Pretty creepy, but yeah, overall she's a good character. Glacia, I'm gonna put down in good, probably bottom of good. I think I like her less than Koga. Overall, she's just kind of boring. Like, I think we need to get more lore for her. All that we really know is that she came to the Hoenn region from a faraway land. Don't know what land. Not really much we can use to speculate on that. But she came because it's apparently harder or easier, one of the two, to train ice-type Pokemon in the Hoenn region because it's so hot there. She became like the 3rd strongest trainer in the entire region because of that. But she also has a lot of under-evolved Pokemon on her team. And I personally just don't like it. I don't think that she's all that impressive of a trainer. I do like the fact that she gets I don't like that she replaces her signature Pokemon Walrein with Mega Glalie. I just think that that's kind of a weird pick for her. I get it that they wanted to give her a Mega Pokemon that, like, would Mega Evolve, obviously. But I don't think that that was a good pick for her. Mega Abomasnow probably would have been good. If they had, at the time, Mega Frostlass would have been amazing for her. But, you know, you can't win everything. Drake. I'm gonna put Drake above Phoebe. I like him a lot because of his Emerald team, where they ended up giving him Kingdra, Flygon. They gave him a Shelgon still, but, you know, you can't win everything. Then an Altaria and a Salamence. I think that that's just a very overall well-rounded team. I know there's a lot of 4x ice weakness. Not really with the Kingdra, so that covers, you know. But overall, I just think that they did really, really well with his team. His design's really interesting, how he's a captain of a ship, or was a captain of a ship. Very cool, very ominous. He kind of gives off, like, this mysterious vibe, you know? Who doesn't love a mysterious vibe? Aaron. I actually really like Aaron. I got a lot of respect for Aaron. I'll probably put him in between Karen and Karen and Lorelei. Aaron's really cool because I think the bug type is super, super weak. There's the lore that he at one point was a gym leader and a bug catcher, obviously, and he made his way up to it. His Platinum team and his final rematch team in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl really, really sell him. How they give him a Flygon in the rematch team, and then they completely revamp his team from Diamond and Pearl into Platinum, where they gave him the Omega, the Scizor, I think he already had the Heracross, but they gave him a Vespiquen, and they just completely remade the team and made it so much better. So I think that Platinum was the glow up that he needed. Bertha, I'll put her here, right between Sydney and Bruno. Bertha's interesting. I really like, because her initial team sucked on Diamond and Pearl, and I think you're gonna find that for a lot of the Sinnoh trainers, is that their initial team sucked. Their Platinum teams got better, and then their final rematch team in Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl was like icing on the cake for it. But overall, like, I really like that they gave her all ground types in her platinum team, because before she had like Sudowoodo and it just wasn't a great fit. I think that they probably should have left Quagsire instead of replacing it with Wishcrash, but that's just me. But then, and they gave her a Nidoking with Sheer Force and the Life Orb and the final rematch in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. Like, they just did really, really well for her. Her designs, it's definitely a copy of Agatha from Generation 1, but I love that they tied it together with a Legends Arceus, and they made it so that the designs connect because they're both related to the same person, so lineage, you know? But overall, she's good. She's great. Next, we have Flint. I'll put Flint here behind Karen. Oh no. Flint, I love that they gave him the lore of being really good friends and rivals with Volkner, and like how he checks up on him. I think that this potentially could have been like our first LGBT relationship in the Pokemon world for he and Volkner, but at the same time I'm probably romanticizing just a male friendship. That's the trauma in me. But yeah, and surprisingly, I think that he having 2 fire types in the initial Diamond and Pearl is super interesting, because they still tried to connect it with Pokemon who were fire type related, like Drifblim being Blim and Floppany being Lopunny. But yeah, and then his rematch team was really cool, and then his final rematch team, like, just overall, I think it's very cool. They gave him a lot of lore, gave him a lot of story, so overall, great. Lucian, I'm going to place at the top of great, just off of vibes. Like, in Diamond, Pearl, and even Platinum, he comes off like a complete jerk, you know? Like, I'm not a fan of him, but then in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, he takes off those glasses, and I'm like, Lucian, I had no idea. I had no idea you were that attractive. But overall, I think his hair color and his suit color go very, very well together. I think that he's a very cool trainer. I like that he has like more intellectual Pokemon. Think Alakazam, think Bronzor, and then like his signature Pokemon is actually a Gallade. Pretty cool. I enjoy that a lot. Next we have Chantal. I'm actually going to place her bottom of good. I don't have a lot of feelings towards Chantal. I think that it's cool that she is an author. We haven't really run into a ton of Pokemon characters who are authors before, so that's pretty cool. Her design's okay. Her type's not that interesting to me. I like that she has like the female form of Jellicent, that's pretty cool, and a Cofagyrus. But yeah, other than that, she really doesn't have that much going on. And honestly, Marshall's gonna be our first character down in the bad tier. They just don't do enough with them for me to actually be invested or entertained by him. They give him both of the Muppet Pokemon, Sock and Throw. Yeah, I really don't have much to say about Marshall, sadly. Grimsley, on the other hand, he's gonna go up to, yeah, I'll put him there actually. I find it super interesting that they made him, he's got a gambling problem, which is a very subtle way to address it. And then when he comes back in the Sun and Moon games or the Alola games, like, you can tell he's just different. And you don't know if that's depression, you don't know what that is, but they definitely gave him some spice, and I think that that's really cool, because they don't do that kind of care with a lot of different characters. Like, I think the closest thing that we probably got to that was, like, Ingo coming back through Legends Arceus, but yeah, overall, I think that that's very interesting, and I like it. Caitlyn. I'm actually going to put Caitlyn behind Aaron. Once again, strictly off of lore. She comes back from the Battle Frontier, where she was kind of like a side character behind her butler Duroc. But yeah, overall, I really like that her partner Pokemon in her rematch teams is actually a Metagross, not the Reuniclus or Gothitelle that it was in her initial battles. Super interesting. I like her. I really want to know what's holding up her hair on the other end. It's probably her psychic powers or whatever, but you know, pretty cool. I also love that she's one of the only characters that helps us figure out that there is actual progression in the Pokemon games and that they're not all happening at the same time. Malva. I'll put Malva bottom of amazing. I'll put her at the top of great. I love her because she has story. You know, like, she works for Team Plasma. She works for Team Flare. And she is an Elite Four member. And she works for the media. Like, it's just super interesting that they made a character that developed. I also have a theory that she's actually Lavana from the Pokemon Ranger Shadows of Omnia game. Go watch that short that I made for Mistaken Identity Monday. But yeah, overall, I think it's really cool. And then it sounds like when in Legend Arceus, she actually retreated and she's no longer in Lumio City. She's like escaped the police and stuff. So she's kind of a badass. But yeah, overall, really cool character. Seabold. I like Siebold. His design's really cool. He's a chef, which is kind of cool. Overall, his team's kind of underwhelming. I like that they did give him a Starmie and a Gyarados. That way, like, you got some interesting team dynamic with those two Pokemon. And then he also has the Clawitzer and Barnacle. I wish his signature Pokemon, his signature Pokemon wasn't Barbaracle. I feel like there could have been a lot more cool Pokemon that they could have picked for him. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, like, with his theme of being a chef, unless, like, those extra hands that Barbaracle have can, like, be used for cooking. But then again, his Mega Evolution for Barbaracle gives up the water type and it becomes rock fighting. So overall, like, I just think that was kind of wasted potential. I'll probably actually put him top of great for that, just because I don't think that they really gave him the love and care that he deserved. I like that they did continue on with the story, though, saying that he retired from the Elite Four. That way he could focus more on cooking. Wickstrom, bottom of bad. Like I've said with some of these characters on the bad tier, I feel like they just did not invest enough into him. They didn't share enough of the lore with him. I like the fact that with Komodo, he wears the same suit of armor that Wickstrom wears, and that adds some lore to both of them, showing that the suit of armor comes from a different region and all of that. That's pretty cool. But overall, just not super impressed. Drasna I'll put at the top of good. Same thing that happened with Wickstrom and Marshall. They just didn't give her enough lore. All that we really know is that she comes from a really old city, which is hinted to be Celestic Town back in the Sinnoh region. So she could be related to Cynthia. We don't really know, but yeah, overall, I just feel like there's a lot more that they could have done with her. Hala as an Elite Four member, I'll probably put here with bottom of good, but not necessarily bad. I think that he wasn't really a character who needed to be an Elite Four member, which I guess makes sense, and they thought about that because then again in the Ultra games they switched him with Moylain, and I think Moylain did a better job, so I'm gonna put him there. I just think that they definitely, well, okay, let me backtrack. Hala having a Crabominable as his partner Pokemon, not great. I think that they definitely could have picked a better Pokemon to be his partner Pokemon, but I feel like they were also probably fairly limited with the Pokemon that they could have picked for him. So overall, not horrible, but not great, not amazing. Moylain having a partner Pokemon be Alolan Dugtrio, kind of underwhelming. He also has a Metagross on his team, which is pretty cool, pretty neat. I like that they are giving a lot of the Steel-type trainers and Psychic-type trainers, honestly, access to that Pokemon that seemed to be so elusive back in Generation 3. But yeah, and his name has the word Lane in it, so obviously it's going to be great, because, you know, Lane. Alright, next up on this list we have Olivia. And Olivia is an Elite Four member. I wish that they didn't force the fossil Pokemon on her. I mean, it is kind of cool that she owns a shop where you can buy the fossils, but overall, I mean, I don't really think it fits her whole aesthetic. I wish that they focused more on, like, the gemstones of it. I mean, she does have a Carbink, so I mean, I will give her that, but overall, I just think it's kind of wasted potential. I'll put her under Bruno, but Acerola, I love Acerola. I'll put her bottom of amazing. I think that how she's kind of, like, hinted to be like a ghost, or maybe just crazy, one of the two. But overall, I think it's just interesting that they made her into something more like, it's hinted like she's Alolan royalty and all of that stuff, and very cool, very interesting. Overall, I think I like her color. I like that she's a really strong battler, despite not even being like a kahuna like Hala or Olivia, and she still got the position as an Elite Four member. That's pretty interesting. So, Kahili, I'm gonna put her almost top of great. I think she is the definition of wasted potential. She's just such a cool design. I mean, we get the backstory of her being with her dad's the owner of the resort in the Alola region, and overall pretty interesting. I like that she's a flying type trainer because of the whole, like, when you're golfing, like, it's based off of birds, like that's how they keep score, like it's an eagle, a birdie, a condor, and yeah, she's a flying type golfer. Pretty interesting. I like how in the anime she, like, launches the ball with two cannon. That's cool. I also like the theory that, I think it's a theory I made up, I don't know though, that she and Guzma are related. So yeah, go watch that YouTube short too. Rika is the first character who I think is gender neutral. if not like just giving off heavy lesbian vibes, and I love it. I'm gonna rearrange some of this real quick. Oh no, because I don't think she necessarily needs to be an amazing, but I think that she's very cool. I like that she's a ground type specialist. We don't really have many of those in the Elite Four. As of right now, I think it's just Bertha and her. Yeah. But I really like the implication that how they imply that she and Gita, top champion Gita, are like dating. I don't know. You just get that vibe when you're in the Indigo Disc at the very end of it before you go back down into Area Zero. Like, I don't know, like they don't have to travel together, you know? Like it could have just been Gita. Like she doesn't need a bodyguard, she doesn't need protection, but I mean. And then I also like the story that they adopted Poppy. Poppy's cool. I like Poppy because she's 9 years old, which is younger than Ash, which is crazy because she looks like she's like 5, honestly. But yeah, and then she's got all these like really, really big, tough Pokemon like Metagross. Once again, does she have Metagross? I forget. But no, she's got like Copperajah. She's got like all these really, really big, heavy Pokemon, and she's just a little baby. And she's even got like the Boo Boo keys around her neck. So yeah, overall, fun design, fun character idea. Because she's the youngest character that we've ever had be in the Elite Four. So yeah, overall just cool. Larry. I'm gonna put Larry there. We're just gonna ignore that. But Larry is really cool because he's the only person in the games to ever have the duality of being an Elite Four member and a gym leader at the same time. I really like that. I like that he's like a salary man. He's working hard. Come on, who doesn't love Larry? Like his team overall is pretty cool. I like that he's got 2 separate teams, one for being a gym leader, one for being an Elite Four member. I do apologize if you've been listening to my dog chew on her bone this entire time. My bad. But yeah, overall, I don't know, who doesn't love Larry? Hassel or Hassel. No, I'm not gonna put him in bad. I'll put him top of good. And I'm only saying that because I ship him and Brassius so hard. I love them as a couple. I really want them to be gay together. I support this so much. But overall, his character design is not super interesting. The fact that he cries all the time, like, I get it. I'm emotional too. But you don't gotta make that a character trait. And then there's also how he knows, like, Drayden and Drayton. And then there's also like a theory that he's part of this like clan of dragon type users, and I think that every dragon type trainer, honestly, and I'm gonna make a video about that here soon, so be on the lookout. Next up we have Crispin. Crispin can go here. I think fire type is a very interesting type for an Elite Four member. We've only ever had Flint and Malva for that. I really wish that they gave him more backstory. I think that he's the only one that we don't really have anything for. There is the idea that he was related to Chili, the gym leader from Straighten City, potentially his son, but then we found out with Legends EA that everything happens in like a 5-year gap, and that doesn't give him enough time to have a child. That's this age, of course. So yeah, overall, I think he's interesting. He's from Burbank City, but other than that, there's really not much to go off with him. I like that he's got a Blaziken as like his ace. And overall, his team's very difficult. I think the Blueberry Academy teams are the most difficult battles in the entire Pokemon franchise. But yeah, overall, I think that he's just good. Amaris is gonna go here. She also does not have enough lore with her. I think that based off of her like appearance and how strong of a battler she is, it's heavily implied that she is related to Lenora, the Nakarine City gym leader and the organizer of the Nakarine City Museum, but it's never confirmed. She's also like the head of the student council. I just think that there's not enough going on with her to actually warrant being a super high up on this. Lacey is gonna go all the way up into amazing for me. I really like her. I like that they made one of the most rough and tough gym leaders in the Unova region, Clay, have like a super effeminate daughter. I love that she uses the same Excadrill her dad has. And yeah, overall, I just think that she's super creative. I really wanted for her mother to be Elsa or Elisa or however you pronounce it in Nimbasa City, because I think that that'd be a super interesting connection to have between Clay and Elsa, but with it being only a 5-year gap in between ZA and Legend and Kalos, like it doesn't seem very likely that they would have gotten together in that time period and had a child that would be her age. So overall, not I like her. I wish that we knew more about her. And finally, we have Drayden. And Drayden is a jerk, an absolute jerk. I don't like him. Actually, I'm gonna put him down in horrible. He's a strong battler, like his design, but he doesn't have to do my boy Kieran like that at the end of the game when he gets beaten. You don't have to like rub it in his face that he's the former champion and all that. Like, no, my boy Kieran worked hard for that. He's allowed to be upset. He does, no. I don't like Drayden. I feel very strongly that he is the worst Elite Four member. Like I said, he's a good battler. I like his story being related to Drayden of Eucalypted City, or however you pronounce it. I think that's pretty cool. And then his potential relationship to Iris is pretty neat. But overall, no, I think that he's a jerk, and that's why he's horrible. So thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with me today and tier listing all of these amazing Pokemon characters. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I will see you in the next one. Bye!